day feels just like heaven. Wifey, you mean the world to me.
Good evening, everyone. I am Craig Woodard, and welcome to episode 6 of Etcetera with the Woodards. I am rolling solo tonight. Christine Woodard has the night off. We're going to get right into it. We're going to talk some more Down Syndrome Association of Tampa Bay down here at the Bay here in Florida. For those of you that are watching around the world, just want to let you know where we're located at. And I tell you what, you do know that I am the executive director and the president of the Down Syndrome Association of Tampa Bay, and I got some great news to report. A buddy of mine who is the star of his own documentary called Because of Sam Piazza, local Tampa legend, blessed with Down syndrome, reached out to me the other day. He wanted to be a part of our board of directors as a self-advocate. He is currently a self-advocate at Gigi's Playhouse Tampa, and he sent me and Ashley Odom, who is the president of Friends, another local Down syndrome organization here in Tampa, a text message that he wanted to be a part of the other two groups here in Tampa, part of us banding together. You guys know we had our World Down Syndrome Day celebration where all three groups were under the same roof for the very first time, and we are looking to do some things together and bring the Down syndrome community closer together, be able to offer all of our services to everyone so that everyone knows that we're here to support you. And Sam just touched my heart the other day. I see him all the time at different events that we have. He comes to some of ours, he goes to Gigi's, he goes to Friends, and for him to want to be a part of our board of directors really touched my heart. So we voted on it, and Sam Piazza is our very first self-advocate. Congratulations, Sam. Welcome aboard. I'm so glad that he is on board, and he's a great speaker too. He writes his own speeches. So right before the event takes off, it's nice to hear a word coming from Sam. So I'm glad he is definitely on our team. Sam is also one of those guys that advocates to spread the word, to end the word. The word we're talking about is the R word. If you guys don't know out there what the R word is, I don't like saying this word, but I'll say it for the sake of this segment. Please refrain from using the word retarded, okay? That is definitely a poor choice of words, and it's just a disgusting term to use for those that have special needs. It's derogatory, and we have evolved as a nation past that particular word. It used to be used in medical terms back in the day, but the term that replaces that is intellectually disabled. And so when people use that term, it's very hurtful to people that have special needs or have some type of a learning disability. So Sam has been very instrumental in spreading the word to end the word. Our vice president, Drew Garabo, who is the radio host of Drew Garabo Live, he's our vice president, and he is very much against it. His nephew, Will, was blessed with Down syndrome, and he's been on our board for 6 years now, and I hear him on the radio always talking about this topic. So I wanted to bring this topic up and discuss it a little bit, just for the fact that it was brought out in I think it was a tweet on Twitter or Instagram or something like that, but Kanye West opens his mouth, insert foot once again. He opens his mouth and he calls Jay-Z and Beyonce's twins the R word openly. Just writes it right on there. There's so many words in the English language. Vocabulary has to be somewhat extensive, but not that much to replace that word. And for him to use that particular word, he definitely wanted to hurt Beyonce and Jay-Z, and didn't even care. Didn't even care that he said it. There's a lot of people that continue to use that word, and It's kind of hurting our movement. We talk about this all the time, how discriminatory it is to use that particular word. So I really, really encourage you, those out there that have kids. Our viewing audience is 24 to 35 years old. So those out there that are listening, that are watching right now, please teach your children when they're growing up to be sympathetic. Teach them not to use that word. It starts at home. On the opposite side, it starts at home. So if you don't use it, they won't use it. And then you say something when you hear it in certain conversations. Now, I'm not out here trying to censor people's free speech. I'm just saying use another word that's kind. You don't have to be evil out there. There's too much evil going around in this world, and I wanted to kind of discuss that since Kanye West brought this out nationwide, and the tweet has been all over the place, and it's kind of dying down now, but he knows how to get people's attention. He knows how to get talked about, and that's probably one of his ploys here. But I wanted to take this opportunity just to tell you how I feel about that word. My son, Craig Jr., was blessed with Down syndrome, and I have just a new look at that particular type of word. And people that were blessed with Down syndrome and other special needs, I really love these individuals, and they deserve more. They deserve better. So that is my message to you about the R word. Please help me spread the word to try to end that word. Okay. All right. Moving on. As I said, we're down here in Tampa, Florida, and I don't know if you all seen this. I mentioned our Vice President Drew Garabo on his show. I believe it was this past Thursday. He was one of the first media personnel to put this out there in the open. And he was playing clips of this, and this video is surfacing on Instagram, and it went viral. It's about this fisherman down here and a captain of a boat that sped through this middle way that was underneath one of the overpasses. This gentleman in question, this 22-year-old, was sitting on his boat fishing, and there was another buddy of his that was sitting there in his boat fishing as well. And that gentleman did not have his lights on his boat. And so this chartered captain is taking three other gentlemen out on the bay there, and he flies underneath this underpass, and he almost hit this boat. He didn't see it. And so the other guy that didn't have the lights on started to cuss at them, and this 22-year-old said a couple choice words, yelling at him for flying through that middle section. Well, this charter boat turns around, and he starts yelling at this 22-year-old. And the 22-year-old is the only one on his boat, and he's yelling back and forth, and he's saying that he was in the military before. He's a veteran, and they're going back and forth, yelling at each other. And I don't think the 22-year-old knew how serious things were going to get. But if you look at the video, the 22-year-old was the one that was starting to record this whole incident. And I think he started to record after the charter boat, the captain turned around and came back. He wanted to get this on video. So I don't know if he was looking for some clicks, if he wanted this to go viral, but it almost ended poorly for him. To just kind of tell you what went on here, and you can look at the video yourself and watch it. It's about 4.5 minutes long, but there was a lot of cussing going on. They were going bickering back and forth, and the captain started to get closer and closer to his boat, to the point he got right next to his boat and boarded this 22-year-old's boat. He just hopped on his boat, and you can hear in the 22-year-old's voice how frantic he went. He went from kind of aggressive and yelling and cussing back at the captain, but he was trying to explain to him that it wasn't him that was doing all the cussing, it was the other guy, and they weren't there together. But the captain wasn't trying to hear that because he knew what he knew. And so when the captain got on the boat, This guy, so the choice word in this whole video was bro. So please, bro this, bro that. It's uh, you could probably search the word bro, and that would be the first thing to come up. But this 22-year-old was very, very scared, and he finally apologized. It didn't seem like he wanted to because he was apologizing for the other guy, but he did so just to get this captain to calm down. And this captain finally exited his boat, and he drove him back over to the captain's boat so that he could get on. But I'm gonna tell you what, things could have went totally different. What if this 22-year-old had a kid on the boat? Would he have handled it a little differently? I don't know. What if the captain boarded this boat and the 22-year-old defended himself and shot this captain? Could have happened. A lot of things could have happened. This reminded me a lot of road rage, but this was water rage. And you just got to really, really be careful. Ultimately, what ended up happening is the captain got arrested for aggravated burglary. He does have a little bit of a rap sheet. We don't know the extent of all of that and what has occurred back in the day, but having a rap sheet is not a benefit to what you got going on in your life right now. But it seemed like he was saying he was the best charter captain out there, and he probably ultimately lost his job by his actions. So for every action, there is a consequence, and he chose to get on this boat, and he did get arrested. So if anything happens, when he finally goes to court, I'll keep you updated and keep you posted. But you gotta make sure you go on Instagram and look for fishermen and charter captain. Something that it'll pull right up, and you'll be able to watch the video. So luckily, everyone was okay, and everyone made it safe out of that situation. All right, moving on. I told you guys in certain posts that I put on Facebook that I wanted to talk about credit scores and credit counseling, and to help you guys get better credit scores. I've been in the financial industry for over 22 years. I've been a manager or district manager on a management level for 21 years. I've trained so many people in this business at the 3 companies that I worked for. And I currently am still a branch manager at one of the local financial industries right now as well, one of the companies. And I teach my team every day to counsel our customers, because our customers don't know what we know. And so when they apply for loans and we have to pull their credit to see if they're qualified, we see everything that's on there. We can see their spending habits. We can see how many credit cards they have open. We can see what's called their utilization on their revolving debt. So let me get into kind of explaining. If you want to increase your credit scores, and I did this right before we bought our house 5 years ago. So what you want to do is, if you have a number of credit cards that are open, you want to look at your utilization. When I say utilization, what I mean is, if you have a credit limit on a credit card for $1,000 and you have a $900 balance, you are at 90% utilization. What happens is, the closer you get to your credit limit, and when you get over, it's within 10% increments. So 70%, 80%, 90% utilization. When you get over 90% utilization, the way that I explain it is, it's almost the opposite of a gas gauge. Okay, gas gauge goes this way. So you fill it up, and then you use it, and you use it, and then it goes down. And then when it gets down to almost empty, what happens? Well, what happens is your light comes on. Ding, 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 ding. You're in the need for fuel. Some of these new cars will tell you, hey, let me direct you to the closest gas station, right? So it notifies you that you're in the need of fuel. Well, that's what happens when you get all the way up to your credit limit, your light goes on and it alerts the credit bureaus, hey, this person's in the need of funds. And what that means is while that light is on, your credit score is going down. Your credit score is going down. Now, what it does is if you have 5 different credit cards and they all have a credit limit of $1,000, you have $5,000 worth of credit. Your credit limit for your revolving debt is $5,000. If you're at $4,900 on all 5 of those cards, you're above 90% utilization on your credit limit. The light is going to go off. So what you want to do is you want to try to pay these credit cards down. Now, the credit cards will give you a minimum payment. They'll give you a minimum payment and it will take you forever to pay these credit cards off. So you always want to pay more on your credit cards than the minimum payment. What's going to happen is if you do that and you get below, so say you get on $1,000 credit limit, you get down to $850 balance on there. You're now at 85% utilization. Because you went below 90%, your credit score is going to go up a little bit. As you get below 80% and below 70%, as you continue to pay that off, your credit score is going to continue to go up. And you want to do that on all of your revolving debt. So let me just tell you, when you get your tax returns, and this is tax return time, a lot of people are still getting their tax returns. Last month, a lot of people got their tax returns. Do not take that money and pay an installment loan off. Now, what an installment loan is it's a closed-ended loan. So you have your revolving lines of credit, which is your credit cards, which means that you can use that and borrow against it at any time. A closed-ended loan has a term, like your car note, like your mortgage. If you have an installment loan with a local loan company that has a 4-year term or a 5-year term, when you get your tax returns, don't pay those off. Pay your credit lines down. Pay your credit cards down, because that is what's going to increase your credit score the quickest. After a number of months, you're going to start to see that your utilization is getting bigger and bigger because you're paying that down, and then your credit score starts to go up. With installment loans, that balance goes down every time you make a payment. And you know within 4 years or 5 years, you're going to be paid off and out of debt, and that particular loan is going to be paid off. The one thing that you don't want to do when you pay down a credit card to a zero balance, you do not want to close it. If you close it, you're going to take a hit on your credit, and your credit score is going to decrease. Okay. Now, what you want to do is you want to check out when you opened that card. That is considered your anniversary date. All right. On your anniversary date, most cards charge an annual fee. It could be $25, it could be $35, but it normally automatically hits you. You get your statement and you owe $25 or you owe $35. That is okay, because that shows a transaction and movement on your credit card. Okay, pay that off and keep it moving. But you got to be disciplined when you pay that down to keep that balance at a zero balance. On the credit cards where you don't have an annual fee, you got to watch those. And I would use your calendar on your phone to set it on your anniversary date or before. Just go and get gas, use your card that shows as a transaction on your card, and pay it off. Because what would happen if there's no activity on your credit card for more than 12 months, the company ends up closing it. Once they close it, you lose that $1,000 credit limit off of your overall credit, okay? And you take a hit on your credit. So you got to be disciplined enough to keep your credit cards at a zero balance and get to the point where you could live where if I don't have the money on a debit card or cash, then I don't need it, you know? That's the way that you're going to increase your credit score. So if you're looking to buy a house, you want to get a low rate on your mortgage, prior to you, probably 6 months prior to you starting to look to get pre-approved, what you want to do is pay all of your credit cards down, keep the credit cards open at a zero balance, and continue to make on-time payments. On-time payments every single month help you out all the time. You do not want to be 30 days late. If you're 30 days late, you're going to take a hit on your credit. Okay, so make sure you pay your bills on time, get your credit cards down to a zero balance, and make on-time payments all the way up to the time that you're ready to buy a house. Then you try to go to get pre-approved. Your credit score has increased. I would advise you to get the app of Credit Karma. You can look at your TransUnion score as well as your Equifax score. And I would also download the Experian application as well. The Experian score is the hardest one. So you want to monitor all of those. When you check your own credit on these applications, you don't take a hit on your credit whatsoever. But you definitely want to monitor some of those things. And when you get the Credit Karma app and you look and you see that there's a bad debt on there that might not be yours, or there's a collection on there that might not be yours, you can dispute that. Go on to the application, dispute it, and they have 15 days to start an investigation. Once they investigate, if they find that that is not your debt, then they will remove that off of your credit. And what happens at that point? You just remove the bad debt off of your credit score goes up. Okay, so there's a lot of things that you want to monitor and you want to do in order to improve your credit. But first of all, pay your bills. Don't overextend yourself. People ask, would a consolidation loan help me out? Well, if you got a number of credit cards and say you have a vehicle that's free and clear, which means you don't have a car note, you don't have a car payment on it, and you want to use your car as collateral to obtain a bill consolidation loan, by all means, look into that, because you could be paying on these credit cards for a long time. But if you get a bill consolidation loan and it's an installment loan and you can take a 3-year term and you have a goal to buy a house in 5 years, well, guess what? In the next 3 years, all your credit card debt will be paid off. But what you have to do, if you take an installment loan and you pay all your credit cards down to a zero balance, again, you have to be disciplined enough not to use your credit cards. Because if you use those credit cards again, after you've done the bill consolidation loan, then you have the payment for the bill consolidation loan, and now you have your payments for your credit cards again. You just got out of the hole. So you got to be disciplined. So listen to what I'm saying and make sure you apply this, because this is the way that you can increase your credit score. Credit counseling. You'll see these credit counselings all the time. They'll solicit you, and what they'll do is they'll say, hey, if you got $10,000 worth of credit card debt, call me. You don't have to pay all of that. Well, what that means is they are going to make you pay them. They're going to put a lot of your credit cards into a plan, and they're going to have you paying every month, but they're not distributing the funds to any of your creditors. Why? Because this is how they're going to get you a special deal, but it's going to be at your expense. So they're going to wait and wait and wait and wait until all those credit cards charge off, which is hurting your credit. It's going against what they're supposed to be doing. They're going to hurt your credit. Your credit scores are going to drop, and you think you're saving money. What happens is, once the companies take that loss, they charge it off, they then call the companies up and try to negotiate payments. They try to negotiate. So if you owe $2,000 on this credit card, they'll call you up and try to offer a $1,000 settlement. And they got all your money in a bucket, and they can afford to pay the $1,000 to make that debt go away. So that's a settlement. On the journey there, they have destroyed your credit on the way just to save $1,000. The other thing is if you settle that way, why would you borrow money and not want to pay the full amount back? me being in finance, if I lend you $2,000, I want you to pay me back. I don't want to settle for $1,000. And guess what? If you do settle for $1,000 and something happens in the next year or so, and you apply again with my company and you want to borrow money, we're not going to lend to you again. So you're burning bridges while you go along. You're hurting your credit while you go along. And these are things that these credit counseling services do not tell you. So stay away from these credit counseling services, okay? So those are my tips on improving your credit score and maintaining some substance here when it comes down to credit, okay? A couple other things here and then we'll wrap up. We're right at the end of NCAA basketball season. We saw some great games over the weekend. Friday night had two really good games with the women's contest, and Sunday night was the women's national championship game against UConn and USC. What a fantastic game in the first half! But I tell you what, UConn is just incredible. You had Gino Auriemma. He had his ladies prepared to play against Dawn Staley and her squad at in Columbia, South Carolina. Fantastic game, but I tell you what, UConn was just too strong, and they set a record by beating a team in the tournament by 34 points. This one was almost as close. UConn over USC. They win the 12th national championship in school history, which is the most in the NCAA out of men and women, and all 12 were under head coach Gino Auriemma. And I tell you what, two people I wanted to mention, Paige Becker, she's phenomenal. She will be the first pick in the WNBA, and Sarah Strong, a freshman, number 21. I think she finished with 24 points and 15 rebounds. Just incredible. She actually set a record for the most points scored in the NCAA tournament for a freshman in Division I history. So congratulations to the Lady Huskies. Awesome job. And I believe the men are playing right now. The men's contest is Houston in Florida. And I'm going to tell you what, Houston played Duke, and Duke was the favorite. With 1 minute and 17 seconds left, Duke was leading this game, and they just had turnover after turnover after turnover, and Houston capitalized by hitting a couple threes. They hit their free throws down the line, and they ended up winning, I believe, by 3 points. Houston over Duke, and it was just an incredible game. And this is why I love March Madness. When it comes down to the tournament, you see a lot of incredible things. There's a lot of players that get their feelings hurt, and there's a lot of tears out there, but these kids give it their all. They're all over the place. They're balling, they're playing, and it's refreshing to see kids play a sport where they really truly want it. And so the championship game is going to be incredible, and we'll talk about that next Monday as well. So outside of that, man, we got episode 7 coming up next Monday night around 9 o'clock. Please check us out on our YouTube channel at Etcetera with the Woodards. Subscribe, share, like, leave a comment for us as well. Let us know if there's any content you want us to talk about. Usually my wife is on here. If she's not feeling well, I'm going to handle the show solo, and that's what I do. You'll also find us on Facebook. You can follow me, Craig Woodard, Senior. Look me up there. Follow me. I'll put it on there. It's on our website as well, www.dsatb.org. And you can also see it on my LinkedIn page as well. So subscribe, share, like, comment, do all that good stuff, man. And we're going to keep this podcast rolling, okay? So that's it for now. I am Craig Woodard for Christine Woodard. We'll see you next week.